Please be seated. Graduates, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of UMIST, it gives me very great pleasure to welcome you here today as we meet in the Great Hall to confer degrees on graduates from the School of Management and from the Department of Paper Science. This is an extra special occasion because in addition to the award of undergraduate degrees, we will be awarding an honorary degree of Master of Science to Mr. Peter Sanguinetti. It is a particular pleasure to welcome all partners, families and friends who have supported our graduates, many of whom have travelled long distances to join us on this day of celebration. I hope that during your visit to UMIST, you will have a chance to look around our university and to have the opportunity to spend some time visiting the many fine buildings and the countryside in and around this vibrant city of Manchester. To reach this threshold of graduation, all of our graduates have had to overcome many challenges. Most obviously, there were the intellectual challenges of your degree courses. You have had to think hard and work hard. But there were also the personal challenges of your degree courses, coming to terms with new ways of learning, of studying, and of working. There were financial challenges. Today, students from all backgrounds are increasingly dependent on contributions from families, on loans, and on income from employment. And we in universities are increasingly concerned about the impact this may be having on their studies. And finally, there were the social challenges. Some of you have had to cope with the enormous challenge of coming from another country to live and study in Manchester. Others with the more modest but no less real change associated with venturing north of Watford or crossing to the wrong side of the Pennines. And all of you with having to fend for yourselves. And in these challenges, you have been supported by many people. Some of them are here today, your fellow students, representatives of the academic staff, but most of all, your families and friends. Some of you have come from far overseas to study here, as have your families to celebrate with you today. And you make a particular contribution to the variety and richness of university life here on this campus and enable us to show to each other that there is more than one culture, more than one way of life. We acknowledge the contribution of all of your supporters to see you make this transition from graduand to graduate. This great hall and this building in which we are today dates to 1902, exactly 100 years old, when it was opened by the then Prime Minister, Arthur Balfour. He proclaimed it at the time as the outward and visible sign of the awakening which has come over the people. But UMIST origins go back considerably further, to 1824, when a group of Manchester entrepreneurs met and decided to create in Manchester the Manchester Mechanics Institution, to meet the skills shortage caused by the world's first industrial revolution. Their purpose was clear: to promote the learning of scientific principles. But demonstrating the foresight that had already made them prosperous, they argued that it was also vital to link that learning to work. This still remains one of UMIST's basic objectives, and why a survey of UK employers to be published later this month will show that UMIST and Cambridge are the most highly regarded universities for the employability of their graduates, a record that we have now achieved for the past 5 years. UMIST's contribution and importance to the economic and social well-being of the United Kingdom and other countries worldwide has also recently been acknowledged by the Chancellor of the Exchequer. Speaking at UMIST last year, Gordon Brown said, "Founded early in the 19th century by the business community of Manchester, UMIST enters the 21st century a leading centre for scientific research, its links with business stronger than ever, promoting jobs and opportunity for the Northwest region and beyond. UMIST is very proud of the achievements of its students, and we take particular interest in their careers and development. UMIST graduates can be found in all walks of life. They include Sir Terry Leahy, the Chief Executive of UK's biggest employer, Tesco, and now Chancellor of UMIST. The Right Honourable Margaret Beckett MP, the Secretary of State for Food, Environment and Rural Affairs, and T. Chi Han, Singapore's Minister of Education. And in the past few years, businesses such as Rolls-Royce, Kingfisher, Nissan UK, Balfour Beatty, BOC and Procter & Gamble have had UMIST graduates at their helm. Another of our graduates is the TV cook Sophie Grigson. This year, she returned to UMIST to give a demonstration to students on how to cook on a shoestring. Her advice did not include first buy a tin opener. But Sophie Grigson graduated in the early 80s with a degree in mathematics, not in chemistry. The last decade has been a particularly successful period for UMIST, and this has been reflected in the number of prestigious awards won by the university. These include 3 Queen's Prizes for Higher Education, 2 Queen's Awards for Export Achievements, 2 Prince of Wales Awards for Innovation, and the only ever Department of Trade and Industry Award for Technology Transfer. Last year, the research assessment exercise recorded that all of UMIST's academic departments were rated of national or international excellence for research, and 2/3 of UMIST's academic staff received an international excellence rating for the quality of their research. We are currently building a new £30 million Manchester Interdisciplinary Biocentre to house scientists, engineers and technologists who are conducting research in the life sciences and into particular diseases such as cancer and Alzheimer's disease. One UMIST academic has developed software which, when incorporated into Windows 2000, has enabled visually handicapped people to know and understand the information displayed on the screen. It's important to stress that I mention the research and the various awards won by UMIST not to boast, but to place in context the very significant achievement made by our graduands today. For not only have you contributed significantly to the success of UMIST, but in a world-class university of the highest standards, you have competed to obtain a place here. You have worked hard over a sustained period of 3 or 4 years, completing numerous assignments, examinations and projects, as well as managing finances and giving time to plan your future career. Your achievement deserves the highest recognition. You are excellent examples of the sort of people we are proud to see as our graduates, and you are just the sort of people a modern society needs in order to thrive and to flourish. But important as all this is, universities are about much more than the utilitarian preparation for a career. They are places where we can think and discuss freely and openly about all aspects of life, where we can debate and challenge views and opinions, where we can participate in activities totally outside the confines of department or degree programs. These are the activities that will have shaped your thinking and life view as much as the subject of your degree. This is education in the round, well encapsulated by the quotation, "Education is what survives when all that you have learnt has been forgotten." And so finally, I would like to wish you every success in your future career and invite you to keep in touch with UMIST and with one another through the UMIST Association, the organisation for former students and staff of UMIST. As members, you will be invited to reunions and be kept in contact with UMIST through the magazine Mainstream. You will not escape us, even if you come from overseas. We have branches of the UMIST Association in many places around the world. Do keep in contact with us as well, and make sure we have the correct address to correspond with you and visit us whenever you can. So, to parents, friends and supporters, thank you for coming to this special day. To graduands, congratulations on your success at UMIST, and thank you for your contribution to the life of this university. I hope very much that you have enjoyed your time here and that you will be happy and satisfied whatever career and walk of life that you choose to now follow. I would now like to call on Professor Jackson to present the honorary graduate. Thank you.
It's over 100 years since P.T. Barnum, who ran circuses in the United States, developed the motto, "There's a sucker born every minute." A lot of people have based careers on that motto, but I want to present to you Peter Sanguinetti, whose career is very definitely not along those same lines. Corporate communications has moved a long way from that style of dealing with people, looking for suckers to exploit. Now the role of communications professionals is recognized as fundamental to the way businesses, large and small, conduct their business. No company can take for granted its right to do business. It earns that right through being honest in its dealings with its stakeholders. And building up and maintaining those relationships is the responsibility of the corporate communications professional. Few people embody the art of corporate communications, building relationships with key stakeholders, getting your message across, than our honorary graduate, Peter Sanguinetti. It's almost entirely his responsibility and enthusiasm which gave birth to and nurtured the Centre for Corporate Communications by raising funding from companies such as Reuters, Allied Zurich, BAE Systems, and Tesco. He was Director of Corporate Communications at British Gas when he encouraged us here at UMIST to set up the centre that I now head as a means of training senior executives in corporate communications. The part-time MSc that we run has been going for 15 months now, and the first full intake came on stream in September. The message is growing that communications is an important part of everything that a business does. Our teaching on the programme is grounded in communications research, as it should be. Peter's travelled a long way to his present home in Somerset and the consultancy that he runs in London. He was brought up in what was then Rhodesia, spent a year at the University of Cape Town before military service in the Royal Rhodesia Regiment, where he declined the offer of a commission, and he spent half a dozen years managing the family farm. For some years thereafter, he was engaged in the sales and marketing and PR side of Imperial Tobacco UK. But it was just 20 years ago that his career really took off. He became Imperial Group's political affairs executive with a direct channel of responsibility to the chairman in areas such as parliamentary lobbying and liaison with the city and with Brussels. For the next decade, he was to work for the British Airports Authority as Director first of Public Affairs and then of Corporate Communications. Among his early successes was achieving permission for the development of the airport at Stansted. Later, he reversed some of the blame that fell unjustly on BAA after Lockerbie. For those of you attached to duty-free, which I must admit includes me, then we should all be thankful to Peter that he managed to protect our duty-free privileges for much longer than the bureaucrats wanted us to. They were keen to take the privileges away, and Peter worked very hard to keep them in place till 1999. He's a very busy person, and since moving on from British Gas, where he was responsible for a number of campaigns that improved the perception of the company, he's joined the great and the good. He's a member of the Council of the CBI, of the Institute of Public Relations and the Institute of Directors. In 1996, he went freelance and he's been working as head of fundraising for the Prince's Trust Volunteers, where he helped them to raise £3 million in very short order. He was being director of the group Common Sense for the Lords, where he helped to prevent the abolition of all of the hereditary peers from the House of Lords. Most recently, he's worked with the RAC in developing a marketing strategy to optimise the use of their membership services. Locally, within the West Country, he's been a non-executive director of an NHS trust. Now, I guess, like me, when I came here, perhaps you've not heard of Peter Sanguinetti, and that's not really a surprise, because it's the mark of his success that it's the results of what he's done that make the news, and not the person who's doing it. Corporate communicators know they're getting it wrong when they're the ones who are on the front page of the newspaper. When they get it right, nobody knows who they are. Peter tells me that his private interests are in charitable work, the arts, and the countryside. I know this myself. I rang him up on his mobile one day to find him transporting land drains in the back of a Land Rover. He was unblocking a septic tank. I must admit I was glad I was at home and he was doing that. This is serious leisure activity, and that sums Peter up pretty well. He takes things seriously, he's very committed, and he does lots of things. Peter's family are very important to him, and I'm delighted that his son is here today to share the recognition of his father's achievements. As you can see, Peter has fingers in lots of pies. He's been chair of the advisory board for the Centre of Corporate Communications for the last 5 years and has just handed over that responsibility. I trust and I fully expect that we won't lose sight of Peter, that we'll continue to share his wisdom, both with me in guiding what I'm doing and also sharing his wisdom with our students. So I'm delighted, Vice-Chancellor, by virtue of the authority vested in me, to ask you to admit Peter Sanguinetti for admission to UMIST as Master of Science honoris causa.
I admit you to UMIST as Master of Science honoris causa.
Thank you very much, Paul, for those kind words. It was in the 1st century that the philosopher Epictetus stated, "Perceptions are truth because people believe in them." Simple. And that was it. And so it was for many centuries, until now, when we have the age of spin. But are we spinning out of control? When the Sunday Times recently criticized our leader as more concerned with his own image than keeping promises for the country, it does make you wonder. There is a solution. There must be a balance. And the theory of relativity in communication is very short and simple. Perception equals reality, ? And if I was addressing you in a lecture, I'd say debate. This simple equation provides the key to a strategy for resolving any communication challenge, however complex. We can measure now perceptions. Professor Bob Worcester of Murray is famous for it. The skill is to maintain perception and reality in balance by communicating the truth effectively. Now, there is some license within the boundaries of morality in this. For example, a glass can be half full or half empty. But it, of course, gets more sophisticated than that. Professor Worcester recognized 3 different degrees of receptiveness to persuasion. First, perceptions, the superficial views that can be changed quite easily. Secondly, attitudes, better informed and more difficult to change. And third, values, the deep-seated convictions which are virtually unchangeable, a matter of life and death to people. This does demonstrate, though, that there is scope for changing minds. David Bernstein, the famous advertising guru, commented, "We all communicate by our very existence," thus making a case, of course, for being proactive and professional. And of course, we do sometimes need to change the reality. During my years at the Prince's Trust, which so successfully helps desperate young people to succeed, we discovered that over 60% of their training needs were in communications. And this does not just apply to young people. Indeed, company chairmen spend over 75% of their time communicating to employees, shareholders, customers, politicians, the media, and so on. Yet many are ill-prepared. Now, as Jeff Nightingale of Burson Marsteller once commented, the only answer to an overcomplicated society is an oversimplified message. John Humphreys would agree with that with his sound bites on Radio 4. And there's a famous person, many of you will remember, Gerald Ratner, who sold jewelry through a chain of shops called Ratner. And he brought his own company to its knees with one careless 4-letter word about his product. A sound bite, all right, but the wrong one. Clearly something needed to be done about all this to avoid cognitive dissonance, misunderstanding. So 6 years ago, I wrote to Professor Sir Rowland Smith, your Chancellor, about communications, and he invited me to his office in London. I arrived armed with statistics, but he came straight to the point. "What's your plan?" he said. Somewhat thrown, I said, Ratner, and I went through the story and the need for proper education in communication in the boardroom. To my surprise, he agreed at once. So I thanked him and stood up to leave. But he said, "Not so fast. First, go and meet Professor Kerry Cooper and raise the money to get started." So we did. And now Professor Paul Jackson is putting 11 people through their paces, including 5 working on their PhDs. A great start, but clearly there's lots more to be done. Well, over the years I've tackled, as you've heard, many exciting and rewarding challenges, but I must say none were as gratifying as this honor today. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will now move on to the award of degrees for students from the Departments of Paper Science and School of Management.
Principal and Vice-Chancellor, I present to you for the award of the degree of Bachelor of Science with Honours in International Management with American Business Studies, Thomas James Bruce. Andrew Douglas Krug. Catherine Ann Ganley. Russell Simon Goldman. Marcus Richard Hayes. Matthew Henry Kirby. David Jacob Nash. Claire Louise Owen. Mitesh Parikh. Lucy Alexandra Pickup. Nicholas Alexander Smith. Ian Peter Chester. Matthew Thomas Clancy. Lucy Kosel. Andrew Howard William Dangerfield. Jordan Layla Darwish Fwaz. David Anthony Fieldhouse. Nicholas James King. Luke Isaac Mortner. Stephen Robert Norris. Nicholas Barnett Tatlow. And for the award of the degree of Bachelor of Science with Honours in International Management with French, Andrew James Brinkham. Anna Catherine Weabicki. John Bullock. Lawrence Christie. Eleanor Corneglia. Jane Alexander Jordan. Kelly Susanna Klein. Rebecca Eleanor Mackay. Laura May McLaughlin. Are John Pass. Prior Poppet. Graham John Russell. Katie Alexandria Shaw. Vanessa Chrysanthia Stutzel. Shara Petinecchio. And for the award of the degree of Bachelor of Science with Honours in International Management with German, Jeffrey Duncan Collier. Josephine Anderson. Ollie Susanna Beard. Jocelyn Susan Burrell. Richard Simon Carr. Daniel Zhang O Dart. Flor Amelia Margaret Digness. Deborah Jane Ann. Emma Catherine Lang. Miriam Claire Salberstein. Camille Anil Shaw. Catherine Murray Turner. James Peter Baker. Edward James Moore. And for the award of the degree of Bachelor of Science with Honours in Management, Decision Sciences, Yingus Panteliotis. And for the award of the degree of Bachelor of Science with Honours in Management, Human Resources, Joanna Bart. Andrew Simpson. Harvard Hare. Philip Anthony Leo. And for the award of the degree of Bachelor of Science with Honours in Management, International Business Economics, Claire Lucy Bowdler. Michael John Bryan. Matthew James Warrilow. Philip David Baker. Chung Man Chung. Matthew John Holloway. David John Illingworth. Areta Ione Sara. Matthew James Saunders. Maria Samala. Tamara Rachel Thompson. Daniel Thomas Tromans. Jonathan Lee. Anastasia Prokorenko. Nishal Alvin Soridu. And for the award of the degree of Bachelor of Science with Honours in Management, International Studies, Rebecca Lewis Ward. Ching Ping Claire Chow. Thomas Peter Dixon. Jonathan Stanton Howarth. James William Morgan. Christian Alberg. Federico Matai. Minoka Oshamai. And for the award of the degree of Bachelor of Science with Honours in Management and Chemical Sciences, Simon Oliver Craigs. Rebecca Ann Bird. Darrell Gordon Thompson. And for the award of the degree of Bachelor of Science with Honours in Management and Information Technology, Jonathan Anthony Lyons. Giles Simon Mason. Peter John Richardson. Paul Michael Torres. Christopher Ashley Beaumont. Prashant Bharta. Philip Richard Harrison. Benjamin Peter Olden. Nadim Mohammed Imrat. Andrew John Lazenby. Darren Stephen Lee. James Mayer. Yeron Mee. Amit Modi. Seetal Patel. Sunil Patel. Michael Dean Pryor. Amna Sadiq. Anish Opal. Kevin Yu Pan Yip. Andrew Michael Barker. Janichi Hu. Carl Peter Lindstrand. Karen Ann McAvoy. Charlotte Jane Owens.
Principal and Vice-Chancellor, I present to you for the award of the degree of Bachelor of Science with Honours in Paper Science and French, Kate Leach. And for the award of the degree of Bachelor of Science with Honours in Paper Science with Management, Christopher Baker. Lorna Jane Dunn. And for the award of the degree of Bachelor of Science with Honours in Paper Science with Management with Industrial Experience, Richard Burnett.
By virtue of the authority vested in me as Principal and Vice-Chancellor, I now confer degrees in absentia on those students unable to be present here today who have, under the conditions set out by ordinance or regulation, pursued the courses of study so prescribed and have satisfied the examiners. May this university, through sound learning and by the advancement of knowledge, achieve its purpose in the service of the nation and the world. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our ceremony. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you enjoy the festivities afterwards, and thank you for joining us on this day in UMIST. Thank you very much.
Guys, come on, everyone look.